Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I want to thank you for the opportunity to explain why the U.S. economy needs a large economic stimulus to boost demand for goods and services and to prevent a serious and protracted loss of jobs, rising unemployment, and income losses. My testimony makes three key points. First, the economy, and especially the labor market, is in serious trouble, and immediate intervention of sufficient size is needed to prevent a vicious cycle of job loss and reduced demand. And most importantly, I think all forecasters see rising unemployment this year and next. We project that if the unemployment rate rises as Goldman Sachs has projected it will, then the typical middle-class family will lose $2,400 over this year and next. That is something we need to try to ameliorate. Second, the right stimulus needs the biggest bang for the buck, targeted, timely, temporary. I endorse. We think increasing unemployment compensation, providing state fiscal relief, and issuing targeted tax rebates fits this. Third, we also believe that targeting spending towards infrastructure repairs, not our grandfathers' public works programs, but repairs can be done quickly and efficiently and putting more than 1 million people to work. And in terms of the timeliness of this, the concern is, as what I'm urging, is that we focus on unemployment. Unemployment is going to be high this year. It'll be high next year. If there are infrastructure repair programs that are begun this spring and actually carry over into early 2009, that's just fine. Unemployment is expected to be over 6% in 2009. Mr. Chairman, the economy has been broken for some time. We are in the first, or at the last stages probably, of the first economic recovery, where the typical middle-class family will have achieved less income than they had at the beginning of the business cycle in 2000 or 2001. We're not here to talk about all the ways the economy is broken, but to prevent the further damage of rising unemployment and the income losses that families will face. Let me return to this first big point about unemployment. You can either believe there's a recession, the economy is going to contract, and job growth will contract, and there will be a sharp rise in unemployment, or you can believe, as I think my friend Bill Beach here believes, that we're going to have very slow growth, very modest job growth, and rising unemployment this year and next. The key issue is there's going to be rising unemployment. Don't focus totally on GDP the way that brokerage house economists might. What American working families need are jobs, and to ameliorate the impact of the higher unemployment. As I said, Goldman Sachs and others are projecting that even by the end of this year, we will see an unemployment rate of 6.2%. And this will put downward pressure on wages and income. If we don't see bold action, we're going to end up with the same kind of lousy recovery we did at the beginning of this decade, where even after the economy so-called was recovering, we had 2 years of further job losses and rising unemployment. We can't afford to do that again. Second, I want to point out that my institute, along with organizations, the National Employment Law Project, the Coalition on Human Needs, National Women's Law Center, the AFL-CIO, and others, have written a letter to the congressional leadership urging some changes in the unemployment insurance system that I'd like to enter into the record. I think everyone agrees, it sounds like, that unemployment insurance is very important in a downturn. It gives money to people who are the most likely to spend it. It has the biggest bang for the buck. And our system is broken overall in the unemployment insurance system. It is definitely broken during recessions when our triggers don't really work to give people the extended benefits. And so we are always too late to do that. I think it really makes sense to fix this system for all times, to make an automatic stabilizer better, to inject some money into those long-term unemployed who will not be able to get benefits under the current system, and to make sure that our unemployment compensation system reaches temporary part-time workers and other people that are now excluded from the system. We also believe that it's important to give fiscal relief to the states. States who have to balance their budgets in times of recession are forced to raise taxes and cut spending. This only exacerbates a recession. We can give relief to the states that will prevent them from doing damage to the economy. In the last recession, there was $20 billion of aid to the states. This time we recommend $30 billion, split equally between a general block grant and an increase in the Medicare match. Third, let me turn to infrastructure repairs. At a time when demand is by private sector employers for customers is lacking, it's a really good thing to create public investment that will create jobs and create demand and help break a downward spiral. Managed wisely, it can be well targeted and timely, and it is definitely temporary. If we have a one-time boost for infrastructure repairs, which we believe can be done for bridges, for schools, for water treatment and sewage plants. Anyone reading about the dilapidated state of our school system or the many, many deficient bridges should be concerned about this. We have an incredible backlog, and I think that we can get this money out quickly. For those people who doubt we can get it quickly, I looked into one particular school system. I picked New York City just as a random city, and noted that they were given $1 billion to improve school buildings as part of a court order. They had told us that within 4 months, the entire $1 billion was committed and that it was completed over the next 12 months. I think this experience can be repeated over and over with deficient bridges, water sewage projects, et cetera. I talked to the head of the National Governors Association yesterday. He assured me that as well. One word on tax policy. I want to agree that we should have a tax rebate. I think that it is important that it go to all people who pay taxes, payroll taxes, or income taxes. I want to suggest that as well targeted and timely tax rebates that infrastructure spending. As you said, Mr. Chairman, all of it is spent. Tax rebates, part of it is spent, part of it is saved. Part of tax rebates are spent overseas. Almost all of infrastructure repair is spent domestically. Given the fact that these are spending needs we have anyway, we get two things out of it. We get to create jobs, boost the economy, and we get a long-term productivity effect to boost. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mishel.